What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Manager, and today we're going to be talking about what it says in the title: why Attack on Titan is overhated, and my personal opinions on why I think it's overhated. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. Okay, the reason why I think Attack on Titan is overhated, I feel like it doesn't get the respect it deserves, which is crazy considering it gets a lot of respect. But when you really break it down, a lot of people always go, oh, the ending was bad, or oh, I didn't like season 2 or 3, or it fell off. And in my opinion, these are all wrong. And since it's my opinion, that means I'm correct. So that means that everyone else is wrong. So we're going to go into the very first thing. Each character has its own depth. You could take a big side character like Gabby, who everyone hates, and you could take Eren, who a lot of people hate, and you could go into depth on each character. One of the things that I see that makes no sense to me is everyone hates on Gabby, okay? Even I hate Gabby. But what doesn't make sense is to hate her for what she's done, and the people that like Eren, they give him a pass for what he's done. It doesn't make sense because Gabby is literally just Eren, but from the other perspective. She's just a young Eren when you really break it down. And everyone hates her for what she did to Sasha, but in reality, she's just a young Eren. So it's not fair to give Eren a pass for when he's a kid and he wants to do all these things, etc., etc. And it's okay because we grew up with Eren, so we saw his entire story. With Gabby, we skip right to her jumping into action without getting to know her, without understanding fully everything about her at the time. And it makes no sense to just berate Gabby for the same thing that Eren would do, or Eren did. It doesn't make sense. Each character does have their own depth. I had to get the Gabby thing out the way. Everyone hates Gabby. I hate Gabby, but in reality, she's just Eren from the other side. Back to the point, you could take a side character like, I don't know, Bertold or whatever. You could take someone like him and you could go into his past. He was in love with Annie. He was too shy to show his feelings. He really cared about everyone. And like, that's on a side character who like, that's just first glance. You don't even have to really think about it. Everyone understands this who watched the show. You don't have to really think about these side characters. Annie, she just wants to see her father. She just wants to go back to her village and she'll do whatever it takes. Every character has their own small thing about them, which makes them unique, but it makes them stand out as side characters. If I were to ask you about Kiba from Naruto, who the hell cares? Okay? But if I ask you from like Connie or Annie or any of these people, Reiner, you can give out little backgrounds of you can give them their background, and it adds to their character. Every character has depth in the show. I hear a lot of people say, well, Levi doesn't have depth. That's just not true. Levi has a lot of depth. The thing about Levi is that he had to shut off his emotions because he lost everyone who he loved early. So at that point, he basically became out of sync with his emotions. And everyone's like, oh, he's just a stale character. He's just a good fighter. That's true, but like the part of fighting is true, but he's not a stale character. He has much more depth to him than what meets the eye. So every character has depth. And in these little details won't be picked up by many people who don't go into depth and like try to understand more about AOT. Another thing I disagree with is AOT fell off after season 1. Completely not true. I will say season 4, the start did have me confused. I had to go back to make sure I was watching the right anime. So I will say season 4 did start off pretty slow, but it completely picks up. And it makes sense for the storyline for it starting over there. It's just showing the other side, the enemy side. Outside of season 4's slow start and confusing start, each season like a good reason for why, oh, that's a really good season, right? Every season has its own little thing. And I don't understand how it falls off completely. I can understand maybe like it's not as confusing, and by confusing I mean it's not as much of a mystery about the Titans like throughout the series. We slowly start learning more. But when the Titan mystery starts becoming solved, then a whole new mystery appears, kind of like what's Ymir? What does it mean the 9 Titan shifters? Like more mysteries start appearing basically. Oh my gosh, the ending was awful. The ending was beautiful, and this is coming from, and I'm not talking about the manga. Leave manga out. I'm talking about anime. The anime ending was beautiful. The reason why everyone hates on it, I don't know why. Everyone has their own different opinions on it, but I will tell you it's beautiful. Because when you look at Attack on Titan, it's a story about losing things, not being able to get what they really want, being a slave to something else. Eren's a slave to freedom, for example, right? Mikasa's a slave to Eren, in a sense. So it's about being a slave to something. And does it make sense for the way Attack on Titan went, for it to get a happy ending? Think about that. Think about all the suffering that we watched. How well would it sit with everyone to go, yes, everyone got the happy ending? That would be good for us as viewers, but for the show, it doesn't fit. There's never really been a happy ending with Attack on Titan, and nothing about Aaron's life has been happy. His life has been hell. So I don't understand why people were expecting a happy ending or happy ever after. It doesn't make sense in that show. I think the beautiful ending of it being he was never able to truly get what he wanted, which was Mikasa. Mikasa was never able to truly get who she wanted, which was Eren, right? It's these small little things that add up. Like, and I disliked the ending at first, but I disliked it because I wanted to see Eren and Mikasa get together, right? That's what I wanted as a viewer. But when you take a step back and look at it objectively, the ending is beautiful and it fits the series perfectly. I will say some of the fighting scenes look a little wonky at times. Mostly like some of the Titan forms, some of the CGI. At times it can look wonky, but most of the time it looks good. The fighting looks good. People say like, oh, season 2 and 3 fell off. Levi's amazing fight was in season 3. It doesn't make sense how it fell off when his like best fight was in season 3. One of the best fights in the series, basically. So the fighting is just amazing, like really good. It's really good fighting scenes, and I don't understand why people like they just overlook it. And that's the kind of the main thing with these type of animes. When you get an anime that's really good in season 1, like Promised Neverland, for example, it's hard to meet that same level in season 2, and season 3, and season 4. It's hard to always be that great. I'm worried about Frieren, for example, because I hope that Frieren I hope that the anime doesn't become less than what it was in season 1 for season 2, and then people will go, well, Frieren fell off, when in reality season 1 was such a masterpiece that season 2, even if season 2 is really good, it's not the masterpiece. People will say it fell off, and it seems that's what's happening with AOT. Like, season 1 was a masterpiece, and so just because the rest of them weren't the insanely great masterpieces that season 1 was, it's like, oh, it fell off. It didn't fall off. It's still very much a good show, but people just overlook it completely, which is crazy when you really think about it. Now, these next 2 points I will make aren't directly tied to the anime. Well, one of them kind of is. The song choice for the anime made the anime way better, in my opinion. They played the right songs at the right times. They knew how to play the right songs at the right times, and Naruto kind of does that as well, right, with its iconic stuff. But there are a lot of animes where it kind of struggles. I would say Demon Slayer has some good ones that they play at times, but like AOT's fights with the song choices, or just not even fights, just moments that have been built up off of tension, beautiful. The song choice at AOT so far is the best anime I've personally seen, where they've added in music to fit whatever mood we're in, and it's been perfect. So the music choice for AOT, beautiful. Another thing is the voice acting. Now, like I said before, I'm a dub enjoyer, but I think the dub did really well, especially towards like the end of the series. But like the sub, they were beautiful, and normally the sub, in my opinion, is like way better. But in this one, I will say the sub still is a little bit better. But the dub wasn't bad. The dub was watchable, unlike some animes, Demon Slayer. But the dub was very much watchable. So the voice acting and the song choices in AOT, beautiful, especially the song choices. That it might be top 5 like song choices for an anime, in my opinion. The small details in AOT go completely unnoticed. Completely. There's times when Eren in season 1, you see like steam coming off his head after he tried doing the balancing thing, and it just looks like a funny like anime type of thing, which everyone expected at first, like was what we all assumed. And to come to find out, he's healing from his injuries, and that's something, a mini note kinda to show you he's a Titan without fully showing us. But it's a clue, it's a hint. Something like that goes completely unnoticed, and not many people talk about it. And that's the beauty in AOT. There's so many small details that go unnoticed, like when Annie grabbed Reiner and he wrote in her hand where Eren was, and you see like he gets thrown to the ground or whatever, or gets back on the ground, he's running away with Armin. There's steam coming off of Reiner, and it looks like that steam from him cutting Annie's hand open or whatever to escape or whatever. No, that's not what the steam is from. It's from Reiner being crushed but being able to heal from it. But in the moment, it looks like it's from Annie. Those small little details, or like there's 13 flowers that represent Ymir, or things like that. It's small details that go very unnoticed in AOT, and I could show plenty of small details that just go completely unnoticed. There's almost always like a catch. Like every small thing, it's like, could this be related to this within the AOT world? So the small details are beautiful. Lastly, the last thing about AOT, in my opinion, that separates it. There are no plot holes in AOT. None. Maybe. The only plot hole that I could possibly think of is when Berthold somehow vanishes when he disappears out of his Titan form, and like it just becomes all smoke and whatever. He disappears, all smoke and steam. I don't know how, and I don't think they ever touched up on how, but outside of that one instance, there are no plot holes, and that might not even be a plot hole. That's the only one that I can somewhat think of. Lastly, this story knows how to write a main character. The fact that Eren Yeager can go from our hopeful hero to our villain who we all despise, right, is amazing. And the fact that, and personally, I'm an Eren supporter. I think that if they were going to wage war against Eren, he has the right to wage war against the world. It's only fair. So the fact that an anime can make you think so much about is Eren in the right or in the wrong off of such a small thing is really well written. There are not, in my opinion, there's not too many main characters that make you truly guess about their ideology, right? Light Yagami is another one who comes to mind. And when you have a character where they're good guys that start off as good, but they end up being bad within the story at least, but to others can also be perceived as good at the same time. It's hard to find characters like that in many animes that are fully able to maximize their potential. But Eren maximizes his potential completely. It's things like those small things that your average viewer would not understand or pick up on as well as someone who's went into full detail about it. I could see how AOT could get misinterpreted and viewed as a bad anime, but I feel like once you understand these things and you rewatch it, you'll see the true beauty in the series as a whole. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and tell me your thoughts. Do you guys think that AOT is overrated? Do you think it's overhated? Do you think that Eren is a good guy? Do you think he's a bad guy? Do you find Eren's justice worth it, or do you find Eren is overdoing it? Let me know in the comments.